My father, Israel Scharf, was born in a small town located south of Krakow, Poland. The town is called Kalwaria Żebrzydowska, or Kalwaria for short. The town is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, renowned for its monastery and the replica of Jerusalem on the monastery grounds. It has been a place of pilgrimage for hundreds of years. My father told me about the huge crowds of Catholic pilgrims coming to town and participating in passion plays, which are religious reenactments. He also told me about the anti-Semitic painting in the cathedral. It incited pilgrims to riot against the Jews in town. This was a blood libel painting depicting Jews murdering Christian children to use their blood for religious rituals. Despite many requests by the Jewish community to have the painting removed, it remained. Finally, in the 1960s, it was taken down on the directive of Cardinal Karol Wojtyla, who later became the Pope. He was considered a friend of the Jews and grew up just 8 miles from Kalwaria. Many people in Kalwaria were involved in furniture manufacturing, including my father's family and other Jews. Even today, the town is renowned for its carpenters, furniture companies, and furniture stores, and people come from all over to buy furniture there. Sadly, even the old unused synagogue in town was converted a few years after the war into a furniture store. The town's Jews had all been transported in 1942 to the Belzec extermination camp in eastern Poland and perished immediately upon arrival. We visited the camp in 2008 and paid our respects to my family. My father learned carpentry at a very young age. As he got older, he became a master carpenter and also learned the craft of marquetry, which he used for decorating furniture. Here are some antique pieces from the 1930s that illustrate how popular marquetry embellished furniture was at that time. Unfortunately, there are no photos of my father's own work from that pre-war period. My father was skillful, talented, hardworking, and extremely resourceful. These were the traits that helped him survive the war. He spent the war years in multiple concentration camps. The first one was called Plaszów in Krakow. It is the same camp depicted in the movie Schindler's List. The one where he stayed the longest was Montelupisz Prison, also in Krakow. Montelupisz was a very notorious prison where a lot of Jewish and Christian political prisoners were tortured and killed throughout World War II. This prison is also where, in another wing of the facility, the Gestapo assembled a group of Jewish craftsmen. These Jews were skilled tailors, furriers, carpenters, jewelers. The products they created were sent to Germany to be enjoyed by the Gestapo commanders' families. So the Gestapo benefited from this free Jewish labor and were very possessive of these craftsmen, calling them our Jews, not allowing any other Nazi military divisions to touch them. As a result, the Jewish craftsmen who were lucky enough to have been selected for this particular work detail were saved. And here is even more proof that my father's woodworking skills and talent saved his life. While at Montelupisz, an SS Gestapo officer asked my father to build a dollhouse for his daughter for Christmas. Halfway through the project, my father fell ill. The officer made sure my father was taken to the local hospital to be treated. 2 days later, the officer sent someone to bring my father back to Montelupisz. My father feared the worst because he was not yet well. It turns out that the SS Gestapo officer received internal information that the hospital was about to be liquidated, and everyone there, patients and staff, were to be sent to death camps, including my father. The officer had saved my father's life in the nick of time, but just so that my father could finish the dollhouse for his daughter for Christmas. My father considered this experience his personal Hanukkah miracle, since this happened in November. After the war, my father returned to his hometown. He learned that only 10 Jews from that town had survived. With his entire family gone, he decided to go to a displaced persons camp in Salzburg, Austria. But first he visited his old house, already occupied by Polish people. In the dark of night, he dug up an area in the backyard where he knew his parents had buried their treasured silver candlesticks and some coins. He retrieved everything and then escaped. Years later, he presented those candlesticks to my daughter Deborah upon her bat mitzvah. She uses them weekly. In Salzburg, my father helped establish an Ort vocational school to train Jews waiting to immigrate to America, England, Palestine, and other countries. These Jews had lost so many years of education due to the war. It was important for them to learn marketable skills in a trade. My father became a carpentry instructor as well as the school's director. It was at the Ort School that he met my mother, who was a dressmaking teacher. They got married, and theirs was the very first wedding in that DP camp. The entire camp was invited, and what a joy it was for everyone to celebrate a wedding after all that they had been through. A few months later, in December 1947, my parents immigrated to Palestine. Israel was not yet a state. Entry into that country was illegal. When he departed from his job at the Ort School, my father's students presented him with a gift they had made, a Hanukkah menorah. That menorah is now in the permanent collection of the Museum of Jewish Heritage in Lower Manhattan. It is often displayed in the section about DP camps. In Palestine, my father was drafted to fight in Israel's War of Independence. After years in Nazi concentration camps, he was thrilled to finally fight for his own Jewish country, a cause he was so passionate about. To support his family, my father established a custom furniture business, creating marquetry trimmed furniture. He cut the veneer designs all by hand. It was extremely labor-intensive. He was always working. And it was altogether tough to make a living in the early years of the Jewish state. In 1957, my parents decided to leave Israel and immigrate to the United States. My father got involved in high-end brownstone renovation, and he also continued practicing marquetry in the commissions he would get to decorate synagogues. Just 2 years before he passed away in 2006, I asked my father to teach me marquetry. I was a quick learner and immediately was making all sorts of decorative items. I am truly so happy that he agreed to pass along this great skill to me. It allows me not only to express my creativity, but it's an excellent way to honor his memory. His is a story of overcoming adversity by being hardworking, resourceful, and determined. It's a great life lesson for me and for all of us.